this afternoon. And
that's what I wanted to hear about today back there.
correct.
Chairman.
And before that, I had briefed the council in a memorandum of everything I believed was important in that pending litigation. Up until today, obviously, I did not have time between 3 o'clock today or 4 o'clock when that hearing ended until the council meeting tonight to prepare another memorandum. But that's why I thought it was a good idea to go into closed session to discuss what happened today.
But Chairman, but if we don't have all of the documents to read through ourselves, like, I'll trust that what you're telling me is accurate, but I like to verify for myself that what I'm reading and my understanding of it to go into closed doors, because if I'm not able to read it, in my opinion, there's nothing for me to discuss, because I haven't read anything.
Through the chair, there was nothing to provide today. We did not have a chance to brief the issue.
But all the paperwork was filed, you said, back in August, and I haven't received any of it.
Not any decisions that were made today, but
But I would like to read that stuff, and I've said that before, like, I would like to be.
He sent out a memorandum.
Yeah, the
Okay.
lawsuit was sent to us September 27th by Clerk Bauer via email.
I didn't.
It's
Didn't
Tabard.
get it.
All right, is there any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, is there any further open business?
Chairman,
Councilwoman?
I had a question to Mr. Frontier. A resident, former council person, is asking a question about what percent police and fire is funded? Are we still paying $3 million per year out of the budget? Where does that come from? The general fund?
Okay, through Chair. Excuse me. I think, I don't have the exact answers, but I think I can provide the communication. What the question refers to is probably what percentage of the pension plan liability is funded. Was it specific for police and fire?
Yes.
Don't have that exact percentage, but I know it's probably like around 62%. Like I said, there's an Act 345 tax levy that pays for that contribution from the city. And did you say 2 million, 2 million?
3, I think.
I think that's a little low, but I'll be happy to give a report. I just, like I said, to be put on the spot without reviewing some data.
I thought it was a good question. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
put you on the spot.
Yep. No problem.
We could get that information about, so really we're saying how much are we paying
Yeah.
for these funds?
Well, the city, because the retirees and employees pay a portion, and the city pays their contribution as well too, and then we get the investment returns. But what I can do is I can send a report, just an email to the council with that information. I just don't have it available right now, but I can get that for you guys, no problem.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
That's
Thank
okay.
you very much.
Okay.
Any further discussion from the council? Hearing none, please come forward.
Martin Juilliard, 670 Beach Daily Road. It's my understanding that today, the 3rd District Court halted the process to award the tow contract to J.T. Kova. Can the city attorney please confirm this?
To the chair, what the court decided today was to just, in fairness to all the parties, to preserve the status quo and to not have the council rule on accepting the contract with J.T. Kova at this time. That'll be done sometime probably in January. But all the court did today is said, I want to preserve the status quo and let the parties give the court, including the city, an opportunity to fully brief the issues so that the court can be fully apprised of the issues, and that's what was accomplished today.
Why is the city administration expediting the removal of the current tow vendor in favor of one that has been associated with multiple criminal investigations in the city of Detroit?
Sir, continue with your
I'm asking
statement.
the administration, and he's the administration's attorney, correct?
He doesn't have to answer
You
that
are
question.
not.
He doesn't have to answer that question. Please continue with your
If he doesn't
statement.
want to answer it, then he can not answer it.
I think it's a false statement, but please continue.
You think what is a false statement?
Please continue
No, you
with your
just
2
said
minutes.
something's a false statement. Explain what you think.
I don't need to. You have
Oh,
2
you
minutes
don't need to?
remaining.
Okay, no,
Thank you.
you keep stopping me.
No, we're stopping every time you're talking, it's counting.
Did the administration conduct a thorough and comprehensive background check on COVA's ownership and all employees? We don't want to answer that one either, do we? Was the administration aware of potential connections between COVA's employees' ownership and the federal bribery case involving Gasper, Fiore, and the towing companies? We don't want to answer that either, do we? I don't blame you. Was the administration aware of any involvement by COVA's employees' ownership with Solers and the federal criminal indictment? Boy, these questions are going to be answered at some point in time, I promise you that. It seems to me that some tactics the previous administration used to remove the tow companies are also being used by this administration. And there are a lot of felons involved here. We have Geist and the previous mayor, Johnson and the previous mayor, and Winton living with one. Now, are you trying to hire some too?
And you're working for one.
I'm working.
Councilman Johnson. Councilman,
You're saying that
please
somebody I work for
finish
is
your
a
statement.
felon?
Please finish your statement.
Name it.
I
Name that person.
I didn't say anybody was a felon.
All right,
didn't
sir,
say
your
he's a
time is
felon.
over.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
Did we have the chief answer a question?
Councilman Johnson, certainly, people are allowed to speak and they can make untrue and false statements. I do find it interesting that this gentleman seems to have more information than some of my colleagues here, so I'm not quite certain who is feeding him that information, or, that he was aware and some other council members weren't aware of the status of the court case
I have
today.
no clue what he's talking about.
But other than that,
Chief, if a background check was done on all three companies,
please.
just simple, yes or no?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Council, Mr. Johnson. Yeah, a background check has been initiated for all the companies that passed original phase. Yes, it has been.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Councilwoman.
initiated or completed?
Well, you'd have to ask the person that did that. I'm not privy to the information. I was not part of that process.
Who would that person be?
Lieutenant Jeff Admission handled some of the background stuff.
So, Chairman,
Councilwoman.
wouldn't it be prudent to finish that before a contract would be brought? I mean, is that usually done beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, this council
experience?
has, again, Councilwoman, this council can choose whatever tow company they want. We're tasked with some things to do, and part of it was doing a background investigation. We do different level backgrounds. Would we have preferred to do a much more extensive background with some of the things that we found on some of the vendors? Absolutely. But I can't get into the information. There's lawful reasons why we can't talk about them. And frankly, I wasn't involved in that process. I have been somewhat briefed, but I don't have all the information. I don't have the further in-depth background that I'm sure we would love to have.
Chairman?
Good, Chair, if I can respond to Councilwoman.
Mr. Plato.
The RFQ and the RFP put out by the city do require that before a contract is finalized with the vendor, that they will pass background checks.
Okay, so wouldn't, Chairman,
Councilwoman.
wouldn't it be better if we completed that process before we brought the contract at the 11th hour to the council to read and approve?
They will be completed before a contract is signed, yes.
So, but you brought it to us to vote on it before that process is done. Is the process done?
Well, the contract was presented to council to review and make sure the council approved of the contract. But as I indicated, the RFP and the RFQ state that the contract will not be signed and agreed to with the vendor until all background checks are cleared.
Is that how you usually do it with the contract? Don't you go through all the process first and then bring a contract? I mean, it just seems backwards to me.
Chairman?
Mr. Plato,
I'm sorry, first, Councilwoman Brandana, and then we're going to recognize Councilwoman Daniels, and then Councilwoman Whitten.
I think it was, is it supposed to be done beforehand is my question, usually.
I think,
And I just didn't understand the rush of doing that. I was thoroughly annoyed by it, I have to say, because I'm like, okay, where's all the other ones? I got an hour, okay, let's see what's happening here. And then come to find out here tonight that the prerequisites aren't even complete. I mean,
well, we don't know that. I think
don't know.
what we've got to check with the lieutenant,
don't we
the
know, Chairman?
lieutenant chief.
why don't we know if it's done?
Well, because Lieutenant, please come.
And just so you're aware, the police department doesn't determine whether they pass or fail. That's not our determination. We can provide some information, but I don't have the authority to tell you guys, do they pass or they not. I can provide what I can legally to you, and the lieutenants can be able to provide some of that information, but we don't tell if they pass. I don't have that responsibility, or nor that authority. That you guys are the governing body, you guys make that determination. So we can provide you again with the basic information, and I'm sure the lieutenant can probably brush up on what I'm referring to.
And I also want to go back to the original agenda. There was a request to change the agenda, and that was not accepted, right? You made the one change to the agenda, 6.3, but you did not make item 6.4 as a change. So there was a proposal to change and bring it forward, but the contract has not been brought forward, and actually we have an injunction from even proceeding. So we don't know where those next steps are, but with that, Lieutenant, you can comment on where the process stands in terms of background checks.
Chairman?
Yes?
But I didn't know that when I took this off. I didn't know why. But you did, right?
No.
You knew why.
No,